Shalom Aleichem Ravotai. This is Rabbi Kovacs. We are continuing in the Mishnah Yomi in the last parak of Terumot. Bezrat Hashem, B'Shat Tova Maslachat. We'll be starting Maaserot this Friday. And meanwhile, we are in Mishnah Zayin in Perek Yud Aleph. So we're in chapter 11, Mishnah 7. V'chen, and so too. So when you see v'chen or bosai, we're continuing a thought typically from the previous Mishnah. I remember yesterday we were talking about cleaning out a storeroom of Terumah. And did you have to get on your hands and knees and do like Pesach cleaning to get every last drop, every last grain of Terumah? And the answer was no. You could treat it like chulin. You could, the same way you clean up by chulin, and the assumption is you do a good job cleaning up, but you don't get on your hands and knees and pick every single grain out of the cracks. So too you can do by Terumah. And now the Mishnah says, V'chen chavit shel shemen shenishpacho, and so too a barrel of Terumah oil that was poured out. So now he wants to use this barrel for Terumah. Not for Terumah, he's switching from Terumah to chulin. He had Terumah in there, and he's going to put chulin in there. Ein mechayvin oto l'hiyot yoshev umtapeach. We don't require him to sit with the barrel and use his tefach, which is typically your hands or maybe your handkerchief, to wipe every single last drop to get the barrel bone dry, so there's really nothing in it. Ela noheg ba kederech shehu noheg bechulin. But you can treat it just like you treat a barrel of chulin. If you had a barrel of chulin oil, you'd try to get out what you could, but you wouldn't sit there going crazy about every last drop or every little bit of moisture. So we see from here that we are more makel by Terumah than perhaps we are by sherry casks that have perhaps absorbed a flavor, but that's a whole nother sugya. We're not getting into that right now, Rabbosai. Moving on to Mishnah Ches. Hame'are mikod lekod, someone who's pouring from one jug to another. The notif shalof tipin, and so what he does is he pours out the liquid that flows out normally, and then he holds the jug to get these last 3 drops. Shalosh tipin. So after he's poured, he gets 3 more drops from the residue. Notin letocha chulin. You can now put chulin in this jug that previously had Terumah. Herkina umitza, if he tipped the barrel, this barrel he's already tried to get out the Terumah, it's almost empty, but he's tipped it sort of at an angle, and now there's mitzah, there's like a juiciness, there's like a little bit of collected, pooled liquid at the bottom. That's Terumah, hareza Terumah. So this is considered Terumah. Like if you can see a pool of liquid at the bottom of the barrel, there's still Terumah in there, and you still have to wait and pour it out before you put the chulin in. Now the Mishnah switches topics, but it's a related topic. V'kamatei b'trumat maaser shel demai yalechenu lekohen. How much trumas maaser? Now recall that we give maaser rishon to a Levi. Now we recently mentioned in the Daf Yomi and Ketuvot that there was a penalty on the Leviim, guys, who didn't come up to Eretz Yisrael with Ezra. They didn't come up from Babel to Eretz Yisrael, so there was a bit of a knas, a bit of a penalty that we took the maaser rishon from the Leviim and gave it to the Kohanim who did come back. That's a whole nother can of worms, or can of maaser rishon in this case. So once they get their maaser rishon, they take 10% off and they give it to the Kohanim. But what if it's demai? And demai is a suffix, because Rov Amei Aretz Maisrin Hen, as we learned a couple of Masechtot ago, we've already learned about Demai, Baruch Hashem, resolved our sveikas, resolved our doubts, but most of them take Terumah, so they should have taken the Terumas Maaser also, but they didn't necessarily do so. Anyway, so this is Demai, it's a suffix. So if you have Terumas Maaser of Demai, you're a Levi, and you have this Terumas Maaser of Demai, it's a suffix, and Bartner says this case it's also Tameh. Yelechenu, how much do you have to go find a Kohen and give it to him? That you're required to give him this Trumas Maaser, which has the status of Terumah. Echad mishmona lishminit, 1/8 of 1/8. So 1/64 of a log, 1/64 of a log of your Trumas Maaser. You have to go find a Kohen and actively give it to him. You can't just leave it on the shelf. But if you have less than that, you just leave it on the shelf until you get more, until you have enough to give him. But this is by maaser of demai, which is suffix, and it's tame. Bartenura says if it's tahor, kolshahu. If it's vadai, not demai, if it's really something that's really mamish, chayev and truma and maaser, then you go find a kohen even for a tiny amount because it's pure, because it's vadai. This is an amazing musar, and it goes like this: if what you're giving to others is a little bit of a suffix, your heart's not in it. You're trying just to be a good guy, but your heart's not necessarily totally dedicated to this cause, or it's a little bit tame, it's a little bit selfish. Someone's giving to get his name on the plaque, name on the wall. Okay, so then you should give something significant. It's still good. It's still a mitzvah to give tzedakah, even if someone's doing it to get his name on a building or his name on a plaque or his name on the newsletter. It's still good. It's still a mitzvah, even if he's giving it, not wholeheartedly. He's giving it, just haphazardly. He's just giving tzedakah out of habit. It's still good, but then you should give more. You should give more. You should make it a chashuv amount, if there's not a pure intention. But if you're vadai, if you're really, your heart's in the right place and you're doing a chesed because you believe in the cause, because Hashem wants you to be a more chesedik person, if you're giving because you're tahor, you're really pure intention, or you're giving vadai, that this is going to help, this dollar is going to the right place, then it doesn't matter how much you give, even a penny, even one mitzvah, even one good deed, even one errand that you're helping someone who needs help. It's going to be an amazing natina, and you're chayiv to give any amounts, and it still helps. So that's our musar on the second to last day of the Mishnah Yomi in Terumot. Bezrat Hashem again, starting Friday in Maasrot. Have a wonderful day. Zay gebenched. Be well.